Is there a Bible at all? I need to be able to see my presentation. Maybe not. Excuse me, Professor Knost, but have you completely lost your mind? Good question. Last year I was in Germany, hanging out with these people at the Institute for New Testament Textual Research in Münster, Germany. And guess what they do? They spend their entire career producing or trying to reproduce the initial text of the New Testament. They're rescuing the Bible for us. Clearly, there must be a Bible. Otherwise, why would there be this institute doing all of this amazing work on the reproduction of the New Testament text, or the salvation of the New Testament text, really, from thousands of years of terrible scribes who did a crappy job? We need them. Otherwise, where would we be? And there's an example of how their text looks online, and look at how nicely they've made it look. Clearly, I must have lost my mind. See, I told you, silly Professor Knost. You should have known better. Wait, not so fast. So just earlier today, I went on Amazon and I put Bible under books. I limited it to books and took out beauty products. And this is just a small sampling of the 1,000 different Bibles I could have bought today clicking on Amazon. And let's just get a little bit of a sense of some of the kinds of Bibles that one can buy. Now, these are English Bibles, mind you, not any other language, just the English Bibles. And so far we have, let's see, I can't really see from here. See, it's old age is a bummer. I've got these reading glasses. But I believe that we have here an NRSV, an NIV, a Message Bible, an Orthodox Study Bible, a King James Bible. We have the Life. We have Revolve, which makes Bible zines. We have the Daily Walk Bible. We have the Tanakh, which is the Jewish Bible. We have the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible, which reproduces the Bible as it's been found at the Dead Sea Scrolls. We have the Vulgate. This is just a small sampling. We could go on and on. So maybe there is no Bible, but there certainly are a lot of Bibles, each one different in its own way, each one with different collections of books, different texts, different ways of presenting the text, different footnotes, different introductions, prefaces, appendices, maps, timelines, devotional material, inspirational words of wisdom, calendars of how you should read the text. There's a lot of different Bibles out there. Okay, what if we go back in time? Back to an earlier period, back in those pure days before the scribes messed everything up, back to the original languages, back to that moment before Judaism and or Christianity really spread around and needed a lot of different languages and copied their books and messed it up. Surely then we might find the Bible. No. So here we have an image of Codex Sinaiticus. So Codex Sinaiticus is probably a 4th century manuscript, Greek manuscript of the Bible. It was rediscovered in the 19th century. And when I say discovered, we have to put scare quotes around that. There's an interesting story behind that. And this particular Greek text in the New Testament serves as an important, or one of the most important underlying text to Bibles like the New Revised Standard Version or the Revised Standard Version. This text is fundamental to the text that's translated in many of our English Bibles today, including the translations that use this in my classes. Okay. But there's a bit of a problem with Codex Sinaiticus if we want to try to get Codex Sinaiticus to be our Bible, whatever that might mean. You might notice that there's a bunch of books there, those of you who are familiar with the Bible, that some of you may have never heard of. Books like 1st and 2nd Esdras, The Wisdom of Solomon, Sirach, Judith, Tobit. What are those doing there? Well, the Codex Sinaiticus in the Old Testament, this is the Christian Bible with an Old Testament, actually has the Septuagint, not the Hebrew Bible, as its collection of text. And the Septuagint has many more books than what gets collected and saved in what becomes the Tanakh, or the Jewish Bible, or the Hebrew Bible. Okay, let's try again. Here's Codex Vaticanus, which is actually even more important than Sinaiticus, frankly. It's called the B text. Everyone loves this one. And this one in particular is a luxury Pandect Bible that may have been copied, perhaps, for Constantine. We don't know. Perhaps Sinaiticus as well. These are things that scholars love to debate ad nauseum. We can discuss that later. And the main point is that it was produced around the same time as Codex Sinaiticus, and perhaps even in the same place. So surely Codex Sinaiticus and Codex Vaticanus could get it together and have the same Bible, right? No. So if we look at Codex Vaticanus, what we find is that it has yet another different set of books than what we find in Codex Sinaiticus. Now, there's a lot of good old friends there. Yes, we will find a lot in common, but look what else we've got. 1 and 4 Maccabees, that wasn't in Sinaiticus, and the Epistle of Barnabas and the Shepherd of Hermas in the New Testament. What the heck is that about? Do you even know those books? I do. That's what I teach. However, you probably don't, right? They're in the Bible. Yeah, they're in, as far as these scribes are concerned, that's in the Bible. Okay, last example from late antiquity here is Codex Alexandrinus, which is the third most important copy of the Bible from this period, probably 5th century, perhaps from Ephesus. That's the latest theory. Let's go for that. And let's see what's in Codex Vaticanus. This is actually the table of contents from the manuscript itself. Probably you can't see it, so I won't bother to read the Greek words for you, but there it is, the contents. What's in Codex Alexandrinus? Whoa! There's a lot of stuff in Codex Alexandrinus, even more stuff in Codex Alexandrinus than we've seen in either Sinaiticus or Vaticanus, including all kinds of great stuff like the canons for the Psalms, the biblical odes, the hypothesis of Eusebius. Probably you never heard of any of this stuff. Boy, are you missing out. You should come take my class. And look what's in the New Testament, 1st and 2nd Clement and the Psalms of Solomon. Who knew those were in the Bible? Now you do. Okay, well, what is going on? Oh, I gotta turn my page. Okay. To answer this question, I want to look at one more ancient book. This time, a 3rd century miscellany manuscript known as the Crosby-Scoian Manuscript 193. This manuscript contains a number of texts, all in Coptic, bound together into one collection. Anyway, Melito Peri Pasha, 2nd Maccabees, the Martyrs of the Jews under Antiochus the king, 1 Peter, Jonah, and a homily for Easter morning. This is a miscellany manuscript. It's not even a Bible in the proper sense. And look what's sitting there, though. 1 Peter and Jonah, bound together in the very same book with a sermon of a bishop you probably have never heard of from Sardis, bound together with a selection from 2nd Maccabees, which was in, by the way, Codex Alexandrinus, and a homily for Easter morning, all in Coptic. Okay, so maybe this highly unusual collection with this book of 1 Peter and Jonah isn't really representative of anything. Maybe this is just some kind of freak mistake. Okay, well, maybe another place to look is P72. We can all breathe a sigh of relief. Here's a really early copy of 1 Peter in Coptic. So probably this is going to really show us what the New Testament was in Egypt, right? And then everything is going to be fine. What have we got? Oh dear. In the Bodmer Miscellany, which is what P72 is actually buried inside of, we also have the story of the Nativity of Mary. Did you know there was a story about the birth of Mary? It's really good and important, actually. Then we have a copy of 3 Corinthians, which is a letter that's supposed to be by Paul that people don't think is by Paul. Then we have the 11th Ode of Solomon and Jude and another Melito Peri Pasha. Apparently, everyone loved that. And we have a hymn, and we have an apology of Phileas. We have a psalm. We have 1 Peter, 2 Peter. So in other words, once again, we have a New Testament document circulating with other kinds of things. In fact, it gets even worse once we try to figure out where these New Testament manuscripts, and these are much earlier even than Sinaiticus and Vaticanus, which are probably our earliest copies. When we look at where they actually come from, what we find is that they were part of a collection of a very strange library of texts. So what is going on? Okay. And so what? Okay. Bibles don't make people. People make Bibles.